So a few days ago I had a bee disaster. About 2-3 months ago in March my bees swarmed and I managed to catch the swarm out of that tree up there. So that's the main bunch of bees. And I managed to put them in a new box. So I ended up with 2 beehives split from 1. But the other day I was out traveling in the USA, out the country, and I get a text from my mum saying there's lots of bees in the garden, and she sends me a photo of like, oh no, that bee wants to sting me. I'm being chased around the garden by my bees. No, no, stop, what are you doing, bee? I need to put my suit on. My mum sends me a photo of so many bees, like probably like 20,000, all grouped around a bush in the bottom of the garden. And I saw it and I was like, well, I'm about 3,000 miles away right now, I can't really do anything. Mum and Dad, do you fancy putting on a bee suit and catching them? And they didn't like the idea of that. So that evening, the saddest thing happened and they left. They flew off into the open wilderness and probably found a new home. I might not ever see those bees again. So today I want to check the hives, find out which one of them swarmed and what the situation is, because if they swarmed it means that one of my old queens is gone and they should be making a new one, but we're gonna have to open up the boxes and find out. And I also want to check up on how much honey they've made. The worst thing about losing thousands of bees is that you've now got thousands less worker bees making honey for you, so our honey crop is going to be a lot less this year. But let's look inside the hives. Oh yeah, let's see what we got going on. That's a big spider. It looks like there's a lot less bees in here than there was before. These could have been the ones that swarmed. Oh wow, they've eaten all their stores. What? Oh no. A few weeks ago when I checked, I thought I had loads of honey. I'll show on the screen now what the frame looked like before. Wow, look at all that honey. And now you can see there's no honey in there at all. And that's because they obviously didn't have enough nectar to forage on for the last few weeks, and they've eaten all their stores. There's something called the June gap, where there is a gap in flowers. The bees don't have anything to get nectar from, so they have to eat their reserves of honey, and that is what has happened. My hive, which was very heavy full of honey a few weeks ago, has now got nothing on it, so things aren't looking too great. They've literally eaten everything. There is nothing left. It's just all gone. It's madness. Wow, that's disappointing. There's still a little bit of honey in there, but not much. Yeah, the whole box is just completely gone of honey. Did not expect that. So what I've really got to check is the bottom box to see if there's a queen in there. No queen on there. So there are quite a lot of these which are queen cells, and inside there is a larvae, which means that is going to turn into a new queen. So yeah, this is the hive which is missing the queen. I've not seen any eggs either. There is a capped queen cell, so a new queen will hatch out of there in a matter of days. So we need to destroy all the other queen cells so only one queen is born, otherwise they might swarm again. There's still lots of bees, but imagine when, like before they swarmed, there would have been like twice as many. One queen cell, two queen cell. Another queen cell. So that one with the yellow spot that I marked is now gone. That's really sad. I've got to only keep one queen cell, otherwise they could swarm again. So right now I'm going to just destroy all of them but one. There is a queen cell. There are all the queen cells which I destroyed. There must be like 12 of them. Each one of those has the potential to turn into a queen. But if they all hatch at the same time, they'll either fight each other and kill each other, or they can end up swarming again. So there could be lots of different swarms and we lose more bees. So there's just one in there right now. Gonna check hive number 2. This one should be simple. There shouldn't be anything wrong with this hive. Same old story in this hive. All the honey is gone. They've eaten it all. Wow, I thought we were getting honey this year. Now it's looking very unlikely. I want to check that the queen's still okay in there. What? Ah, I think they both might have swarmed. Oh my goodness, I don't know what's going on. Just here is a queen cell which a bee has come out of. So this hive has definitely swarmed and there's a new queen in here. This is really complicated and confusing. There's another queen cell which a bee has come out of there. So there's been multiple queens been born whilst I've been away. And I missed it all. The queen that is in here is not laying yet because there's no eggs. Couldn't have really had any worse news. The bees have eaten all their honey, so we've got none. And both of the hives swarmed whilst I was away on holiday. So we've lost so many bees. So currently we've got no queen in that one. They're going to make a new one soon. There's only one queen cell, so that should be all good. This hive, I don't know what's going on. There were loads of queen cells, all which had been opened, which means that queens had hatched out of them. I've probably lost a load of swarms, and there's a queen hopefully somewhere in there. I'm gonna let both hives just sit for a few weeks now and hope that a new queen is born and the colony is working again. But yeah, what a painful bit of news to come back to after being on holiday. Just shows you've got to kind of be on the ball if you want beekeeping to be a success. Whilst not everything is going particularly well for my bees, I have been lucky enough recently to visit some other beekeepers. A couple of months ago, I visited a guy in Wales called Griff. Him and his family live on a farm and they have, I think, between 150 and 200 beehives. And he started with just a couple and he's turned it into a business, like a proper beekeeping business. He sells his honey, he harvests crazy amounts of honey each year. He sells wax candles, lots of other bee products, and also he sells everything to do with beekeeping. Beehives, all the equipment and tools that you need to go beekeeping. And seeing him was a massive eye-opener that beekeeping, although is a hobby for most people, it can be turned into a business. He took me for a drive to go to some of his apiaries where he keeps all his bees, and then I had a tour around the farm. So we saw the room where all the equipment is stored, and then we went to the honey house where all the honey is processed into jars, and then we took a walk in the shop where he sells all his stuff, like it's a proper warehouse. I even bought some honey off of him. I bought a whole frame of honey and yeah, that was really tasty. I took it to my friend's place and we ate it for dinner. It was really good. There's a couple of people from the local club called Tony and Tony, and I went to see them the other day actually. I wanted to have a look at their beekeeping setup because they have also turned their hobby into a small business, and it was pretty cool to see all the products you can get from bees. The thing which they were kind of most excited about, and the thing which is really taking off, and they said they're selling loads of them, are these beeswax wraps. They're basically a replacement for cling film, and you can use them to wrap up anything really. I'm gonna have fried rice for dinner. And they're reusable, they smell really nice, and they actually stick to the side because of the special recipe that they developed to make them less brittle. I will leave a link to both Griff and also Park Farm Cottage bee products in the description below if you want to check them out. It's really cool seeing businesses like this. People who turn their hobbies into a job and a business I think it's really cool. And it definitely inspired me to kind of have that as a little aim in the back of my head. Like I'm gonna keep beekeeping and learning as much as I can, and maybe one day it will turn into something more, and maybe I'll be able to sell copious amounts of honey and candles and stuff like that in the future. Anyway, back to my bees, because it's been a couple of weeks since the confusion of not having any honey there anymore, and also both my hives swarming and losing loads of the bees. I went to check on them this morning, and things are looking a lot better. I actually started making notes. So I've got this folder where I put down notes of things that I see in the hive so I can keep track of what's going on. Before, I would look through the hive, and because I didn't note any of it down, I would forget what I had seen. So in here I've put down notes of whether I've seen eggs or larvae or queen cells or anything of interest which I need to remember. So I checked hive number 1, which is the one that I put on the right hand side, the original colony that I had to start with. Good news is that they are starting to fill up the frames with honey again. This one's feeling quite heavy. Oh, that's a nice surprise. That is what I'm talking about. One whole side of the frame and the other side. It's a full frame of honey. Like this, because it's all capped, it means it's at the right moisture level to take it. Like I could, if I wanted to, take it all now and eat it on toast. But I think what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna wait till more of the frames are full and then take it all at one time. But yeah, that's pretty damn cool. Wow. And although they have made a crazy amount of effort with all their honey, it still didn't look too great on the brood box, the box below where the queen should be and all the eggs and the brood. Because there were no eggs and no larvae, which means there hasn't been a queen present for a number of days. This isn't too good because you need a queen in a beehive to lay the eggs. There were a couple of queen cells though, which means they are trying to make a new queen. There's a queen cell just there which looks very ready to hatch, like the end has gone really dark. I've got to make sure there's only one queen cell. I once again knocked all the queen cells down apart from one, so only one queen is born, and I'm just going to have to wait maybe a couple of weeks for that queen to hatch and then mate, and then I'll check it again. I'm a bit confused with hive number 1 because I checked them the other week, and I did the same thing. I left just one queen cell. I checked again today and there is still like queen cells. Like there should have been a queen which had been born and mated, but I don't really know what's going on. Anyway, hive number 2, slightly different story. They were filling up their super, so they were filling up the honey box on top, which is cool. There's obviously lots of flowers about at the moment, and they did have eggs. There's the queen. I'm gonna mark you. There we go. We've got a new queen and she's marked. That's good. That's very good. There she is. She's laying eggs, which is good. They're making some honey, which is also good. Yay. I'm so glad we've got one queen at least. Look at that. A whole frame of capped brood. See, this one's healthy. This has all the components needed for a functioning hive of bees. Hive number 1, still no queen present. They're bringing in lots of honey, which is good, but I'm slightly concerned. And I'm gonna keep an eye on that hive over the coming few weeks to hopefully make sure they are both good. So things are looking a lot better than they were, especially on the honey front. I did not think like they could bring in that much nectar so quickly. But on my recent walks that I've been doing each day, I've been seeing so many flowers. All of these flowers here are blackberries. You can see the blackberry is even starting to form on that one. But these are apparently one of the top sources of nectar and honey at this time of year. And we not only get the honey from this, we then get all the blackberries. One of the other flowers that beekeepers go on about is this. It is white clover. In fact, I read a book recently about good honey plants, like good plants that bees get lots of honey from. And clover was up there with like the top flowers in the UK. Like most of UK honey is apparently from these little flowers here. We're gonna see how this summer goes. Hopefully we can get some honey from my bees this year. Cheers for watching this beekeeping video. I'll catch you next time. See ya.